Which I got all the chairs in.
Okay, so we'll stop streaming, pick the mics up and just leave it for you.
I'll work order in tomorrow.
All right, we ready? Okay. We'll call this meeting to order to 7:30. We'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance by Sandy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'll have a prayer by Kim Westergaard.
Our dear kind Heavenly Father, we're grateful that we are able to meet this evening as citizens of Shelley and members of the council to be able to serve and to make decisions for the city. We're thankful that we have this great nation of freedoms that we live in, and we ask a blessing on those leaders that run it, that they might be able to make good choices for all of us. And we ask that you will bless the first responders and military and their families that they're away from. Let them know that we pray for them. Please bless that we might be able to make decisions that are pleasing unto thee, and that we can do so in a timely manner. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right. Also, just saying that the mayor is not here in person, but he's on Zoom, as well as Justin, right? Justin and the mayor are on Zoom, so they are at the meeting. So, all right, council. If there's no questions, I'll receive a motion on consent calendar items 1, A, B, C, D, and E.
I'll make a motion to approve consent calendar items A through E.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve consent calendar items 1, A, B, C, D, and E. Jeff.
Aye.
Leif.
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Number 2, Rob Hansen. Anybody here representing Rob Hansen for the street light on North Lincoln?
I think that will be Justin.
Okay.
Yeah, so guys, I talked to Rocky Mountain Power and also our electricians. There is a place to hook power up over there. It's going to require 2 power poles. One will be installed behind his shed on his property, and then the other one would be installed on the edge of the road. It's going to be right where we have there's a little alley that runs east and west right there. We'd be looking at putting it on the corner, so it'll line up Rob's area plus Mr. Martinez on the north side there. About $4,000 is the closest price I can get. It's kind of what they're telling me as of right now.
On whose property did you say, Justin?
Rob Hansen's property. So
Kim, this is right on Lincoln Street by the canal up there off of Center. There's Rob Hansen on the corner. Then Mr. Martinez built a house right on the edge of the alley 4 or 5 years ago. This is going to sit right in the center of that block. There are no lights up there right now.
So it's not a short street, it's on the alley behind the homes that face out towards Center?
Yeah, it's on the north side of Center.
It's on the north side of Center, correct?
Oh, up on the north side.
On the north side of Center.
You know where the old Fosse grounds are that we store all
Yeah, okay, yeah, there's no light back in there. That's pretty dark.
Rob has had some graffiti. You know, he built a new shop over there, and he's had his building tagged, I think, twice. He's the one that brought it up. It's a concern on his end. Like I say, it is a dark area.
So it seems like every light that we're installing is between $3,500 and $4,000. We've already got 2 that we've approved, right? And this would be a 3rd, right? Is that in the budget? Is there something that...
Well, in the street light fund, I've got some construction money set aside. I've got about $25,000 set aside for construction. It does take street light. We don't get a lot. Mostly it comes from taxes and a little bit from property taxes, and then some from the sales tax. It takes a while to build it up, but we usually don't spend a lot in it all the time. So occasionally when we have this or have to put in a light, that's what it's there for.
Right.
So my question is, I mean, I think streetlights is great anywhere, but it's the money. So my question is, usually high traffic areas are more like this. I don't think this area is really high traffic, is it?
High traffic, no, for that reason, and being dark is why we get, when we get hit with graffiti, it's usually over in that area too.
Oh, so we do have problems over there. Okay. Cause I just wondering, like, there's so many outside solar lights, stuff like that on outside of people's homes and and shops and stuff like that. At what point is it kind of their responsibility versus the city responsibility?
Question. I don't know the exact location that we're talking about for this particular light.
Me
You're
either,
saying on
so-
the north side of Center Street.
Do you know where the bus barn used to be right next to Hobbs Middle School?
In
You
between
go
the school
and
and
you
the,
go
and the corner?
straight north across Center, and his house is right on the corner there.
Oh, okay.
So across the
it'd be-
canal?
So yeah,
You go
no, not
No.
across the canal, across Center Street.
Across Center Street.
Oh,
You
okay.
basically got one new home there between Center and East Maple. It was brand new home built a year or two ago that faces this way on the alley.
So there's not
no,
even anyone on no one even on the other side of the street.
No, you can't because it's canal.
It's canal.
The brand new home is Martinez.
Yeah. So I mean, it would be beneficial, but that's a lot of money to benefit just
Well,
Two.
it lightens up the
Two
back
homes?
end where we used to have a light at the bus
It's
barn.
new homes, so
The
it's
bus
in
barn's
this
gone, so
area
there's no
right
more
now.
light.
No, this is north of the bus barn. Yeah. This
On
is
the other side.
On the other side, north side of Center Street.
This is the north side of Center Street. heading
And we're gonna put a light on that corner.
in the back, in the middle of that lot.
Well,
In the middle of that lot.
I think anytime you're looking at a street light, you gotta look at, we can't put them everywhere,
No,
Right.
we can't.
but I think you look at things like, what's the amount of traffic that we have in that particular area? You know, is it near a school? Are there other concerns or considerations? If the chief says, you know, that there's if it's a problem area, then maybe
where
that
are they
tips the
getting
scales.
tagged? What's getting tagged?
The gentleman that would like this pole put up, his garage and shed has been tagged twice with
Do you think
graffiti,
this
and then
community night?
before that home was built, they would go down the alley and tag all
Or is this
those
the
fences
Mr.
on the north side of the
Rob
alley.
Hanson?
On the
CEO.
corner.
My point is like
What?
we worry about that, so we have
Oh.
installed ourselves motion sensor lights, big solar lights and
So
stuff
this
like
is-
that,
This is
because we feel like
This
it's
is
our
sharp.
responsibility
gonna-
to light in our property. So that's my question.
That would affect 2 homes, 3 homes tops.
Yeah, that's the thing I struggle with, right? Is that
Yeah.
the benefit.
It's not like the one on that we were talking about to put up on South Mill. That one is an absolute necessity because that will help that entire block.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right,
It's not like that.
right. Or the one we did on North Park, right?
I think there's a certain place you gotta cut off some of these. We can't be doing them everywhere in town.
And I agree with that.
Well, and who made the comment about, you know, stowing your own?
Yeah.
You know, you put a light on your building or light on your property or light, you know, I don't know.
Put ground lighting around your house doesn't anything else. It doesn't it's not bright, but it's enough to keep the kiddies away.
Yeah.
Which kind of kitties are you talking about?
Tagging,
I got a cat problem.
tagging and
I'd
cars,
like to tag a few of them too.
car thief kitties.
Yes, those kind.
Well, what would you like to do?
Can I make a comment real quick?
Sure.
My only thing is we've got to be careful because if we start putting street lights for every couple of houses, we're going to end up putting over 100 street lights in, and we don't have the money for that. So we've got to be real careful with the decisions we make.
Well, yeah, and I think that's what we're
Yeah, I think it's.
concluding is that the beneficiality of the light is not as great as it is in other areas.
I think we need to have more need than just lighting up a couple of homes. I think there needs to be a serious problem where there's something that could truly benefit. I mean, you know, bus stop or something like that. I just think this is not that.
Yeah, I have to agree.
So I would decline if we do it.
Well, let's make a motion. Someone
I'll
make a
make a
motion.
motion that we decline the street light on North Lincoln.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we decline the light on North Lincoln. All in favor? Any opposed there? Okay. 4 in favor.
Thanks for all Justin's work on the information.
Yeah, thanks, Justin, for getting that information.
Yeah, you bet. Not a problem.
All right, Title 10 amendments, number 3. Consider amending the RE zone front setbacks to 45 feet minimum and 65 feet maximum. And consider striking the wording, no fee shall be charged for the pre-application meeting, Title 10, Chapter 16. I don't think that B is an issue necessarily. It's the A, right, that we're considering mostly.
It's already.
Yeah, but letter A.
3B is not.
On the 3A, so the P&Z held their hearing on that. There was a little bit of discussion. I think Derek attended that, and there was some confusion. They were still talking about the property line. Jasmine explained it was from the right of way. There was still confusion. They got Jasmine to doubting herself. Anyway, when the motion was made, it was made from the right of way line. Now, I don't know what the developer, no. The center of the road is the center of the road. The right of way.
You're saying that's what it has there, right?
No, well, it depends. So if you have a 62-foot right of way, you figure out where the middle of the road is.
And then
you go back 31 feet plus whatever your setback is. So if you have a 40-foot setback, you go back 71 feet. Okay, and that's how it's always been with everything
It's
we
always
get.
been that way. And
So
he's asking for it because he found that he has 3 lots that are too small, or 4 lots that were too small for the 75.
because it made them have a small backyard.
Right.
So what you approved a few months ago, and we just got it put in the ordinance, you approved a minimum of 65 feet, a maximum of 75 feet.
Right.
They came back and asked for a minimum of 45 feet and a maximum of 65 feet. The P&Z did go ahead and recommend approval on that. They have said that they wanted, so there's not more than a 10-foot variance between the neighbors. And Jordan says,
How are we supposed to
you
police
guys have to approve those plans before you send them to me. So they were told if you want that 10-foot variance set in there, it has to be in your CC&Rs, and your building committee has to check that. And if you sign off, then you're responsible to make sure that that's on there.
That's not on us.
Yeah,
So that was left. But the P&Z did recommend to approve the 45 to 65.
Why the 20 feet difference as opposed to the 10-foot difference?
Did they give a reason why that instead of being 55 to 65?
I don't know. Mayor, do you know?
You have the minutes from their meeting.
Why they wanted 45 feet?
45 to 65, why a 20-foot difference?
Okay.
Well, because some
I'm
of the
just
people
ready
that
to-
want lots.
Can you guys hear all right?
They want to save themselves so they don't have to put a 20-foot driveway in. So they
Well-
want to shorten the driveway by 20 feet.
You don't want to have houses setting off from each other 20 feet.
No, it'd look terrible.
So that's a no-go in my book.
Well,
mean-
and the other problem is yes, we say that the developer has to enforce that, but we've all been informed that if you have HOAs that are ran by the homeowners association that lives there, they don't work. Once the developer is not involved or doesn't pay attention, are we going to have 20-foot difference? So when you drive in on one of those roads, is it going to be a house sitting back 65 feet and the next one's at 45 feet all up and down the road? So it doesn't sound like it would look very good.
I'm confused as to one point, and that is where is this 45 feet going from? We don't
From
the edge of
the right of way, correct, Sandy? So depending on how wide their street is.
Okay, so they have a 62-foot right of way over there. So they're gonna, once everything is completed, they're gonna measure from curb to curb and come up with where the middle of the road is. Then they're gonna go from the middle of the road, they're gonna go 31 plus 45 more feet. So they'll be going 76 feet from the middle of the road before the front of their house can be built.
But from the edge of the, I don't care what the middle of the road is. So from the edge of the road,
Property.
it's 45 feet. Is that?
No.
Because you don't have it just the edge of the road. You've
I
got
mean, the edge of the swell and
the right of way,
and
yes.
the-
So
and
basically, on the
sidewalk.
other side of the sidewalk, give or take a couple feet.
So
from
45
the
feet
edge of
from the
sidewalk back
45 feet. Yeah.
is the minimum. Can be 65.
I say
And
55 and
they're already
65.
building houses or have gotten building permits to build houses at 65 feet.
I say 55 and 65 feet.
So I'm with you, Jeff. If we change it, is it gonna? Do we have to?
Yes.
Kick
you
it
have to
back.
go back to
Yeah.
We have to go back to P and Z, right?
It's currently 65 to 75. Yes. Yes. So if you decide not to go with their recommendation, it has to go back to P&Z and we have to re-advertise it.
Well, if it's I'm trying to remember what the statute says.
If it's a
there's a
material
material change
difference.
from what they recommend. Now, you can just thumb up, thumb down, and it doesn't go back to them,
Right.
right? If you want to talk about something different, then yeah, then it either needs to go back to them or else you
Well, I
need
think
to-
we're having
or
a,
you need to hold a hearing. But I think it'd probably be better to, if you want to change it, send it back to them. That's been my recommendation.
I think we're having a lot of heartburn over the 20 feet is the difference.
I don't,
That's the
first
issue.
of all, I don't like the spread. The spread's too big. 20 feet between houses, no. 10 feet, yes. And that's you add uniformity to make it look good. I mean, I've seen developments in the county where you have it bigger than that. It looks awful. They don't look good.
Now, like I said, they want to monitor so there's not a variance of 10 feet between neighbors. So you may have one neighbor that is 45 feet back, the next neighbor is 55, the next one could be 65, but they couldn't be 75. But they have to monitor that.
Because we can't. We don't have people that, you can't have Jordan policing from the edge of the right.
Yeah,
of way.
that's not.
I mean,
That's
we'll
not
stake
what we do.
the right of way. That should be part of what we do to help.
Wait,
them.
why can't Jordan measure the?
Well, he does
the
when he
home.
goes to do it. When he goes to do the plan, when they give him the plans, he goes out and measures the lot.
Well, first of all, there should be no building being built in this town without a plot plan.
Right, he gets those, but he didn't want to be responsible to make sure there was only a
Was
10-foot
10-foot
variance between
variance.
neighbors. That isn't
That's
our
not his.
ordinance.
He shouldn't have to police that. Jordan shouldn't have to police that. That should be the developer and the homeowner.
I know, but what do you mean when you say 10 feet between homeowners?
So your house and my house, your house can't be more than 10 feet in front of my house or behind my house in the development. That's the difference.
Even though there's a 20-foot minimum and maximum variance, your neighbors, two neighbors, can't have more than a
More
10
than
foot.
10 foot
But
variance.
but we would fix that issue if it was only 55 to 65 because it's 10 foot anyway. Regardless.
Because they would either set at the minimum or they
Right.
would set
So
at
if
the
it's set right now, we're at 45 to 65. We're going to have that issue, right?
Yeah, I don't know
That's
why
why.
you put that in there. That
So
needs
it's
to go
20
out.
feet.
Well, I don't think it. I don't know that it says
Yes.
that.
Because he has lots of lots that are short.
Okay,
That's
but the
why.
part we're talking about changing.
They have lots that are short.
It is
That's why.
too.
So instead of having the back lot
So it's
be
not-
off by that 10
No.
feet,
Okay.
he wants to be able to vary it by
It's
20
another
feet on the lots that are small.
Well, and I know.
So aren't we doing this for
Put it under the-
not just their,
Yeah, we're not doing this.
just for the, like, I
It's
hear
for
it is.
everybody.
It's for
Yeah,
everybody.
it's for
So we
whoever
have to-
else builds in RE.
Right, so we
The
have to
Grover
consider
addition
that.
is 55 feet.
Almost all of them.
He
Every
measured-
driveway
because that's
on
what
the
I-
Grover addition south side, 55 feet.
Put in the RE.
I say 55,
Yeah.
65.
Then we
And
have
they
to
have-
send it
and
back.
they
They have to go back to.
Then we send it back to P&Z.
Then Ryan will send it back.
But we can't have it 20 feet difference.
22
That would be problematic. We talked about this. We went through this.
When we did RE, we talked about this. And I tried to explain that to Derek, but he wasn't listening. So, to just send it back, do we deny it or do
Okay,
we send it
so
back?
you will have to make a motion to deny it if that's what you want to do. And if you want it to go back to the P&Z, we can do that. If the developer wants to request it to go back to P&Z. So the two choices you have tonight is leave it, right now it's 65 to 75, so you'd be leaving it at 65 to 75 denying it to go from 45 to 65. If you want, you can ask the P&Z to reconsider, or the developer can.
Was this proposed change brought on? It was
By the developer. Yes.
So what would be the quickest way for the developer? Obviously, we don't want to hold them up any more than, but
The quickest
don't
way
like-
would be for you to hold the hearing.
Next month.
I'd have to republish it and send out, or post it and publish it. So it would have to I'd have to count the days to see what I can fit in. I don't think I can get it for the next one. I think it'd be the first one in February, or the second one in
the
February.
second one in February.
Well, I'm thinking we ought to just do it then.
Yeah.
And move forward.
Yeah,
I do too, I agree.
because I want it
So-
done right, but I don't want to hold
Right,
up the
right.
developer.
So I'll make a motion that we go ahead and set this for a hearing where we will
There's a discuss the
Change
material
the
change
material-
from
Change the
P&Z's
material,
recommendation.
discuss the material change.
material change on this Title 10 issue amendment. And we will handle the matter.
I'll second it.
Okay, so now
Now-
I have to publish what you're calling the
Yes,
hearing
the material change needs to be spelled out in it. So you
Change
want
it
to
So-
go,
from 45 to 55.
the
The
material
material
was a
change.
55 to 65.
Well, we're changing it
changing
from 45 to 55.
Oh, just that
that
component, okay.
Yeah, so
So-
keeping the 65 as the
Right.
maximum.
So instead
Okay,
of
so
45
it'll
to
be
65, it's
55 minimum,
55 to 65.
65 maximum. Okay.
Okay.
That way we solve two problems.
I think we do.
Yeah.
So it's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and make the material change from 45 minimum to a 55 minimum with 65 maximum on the front setbacks on the homes
On RE.
on RE zone. All in favor?
Okay.
4 in favor.
Okay.
Do we need to do something with 3B too? Is
Yeah.
that-
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so 3B we need to do as well.
yeah, and on that one, I put a copy of the ordinance behind it, and you can see it's on section 1016-8 in the very last sentence. So several meetings ago, we approved a pre-application fee that we're gonna start charging for our subdivisions.
Right.
And then I think it was Dave caught this and said, did you know it said no fee? So we just need to strike that sentence.
All right.
I thought even when we just did an ordinance amendments too, and I thought that I'd already changed that.
No, this is the one that we had to send it to P&Z.
Yes.
Oh,
because
I
we
sent the
wanted to
draft
change
to
it.
P&Z.
Right.
Yes.
I've already
You sent
yeah,
that
so
draft
it's already
to
been
get
drafted,
changed.
right? So they
Yeah.
can see it.
So we
And
just
they
need a motion.
recommended approval.
So I'll make a motion that we approve item number 3B to strike the words at the bottom of section 1016-8 that say no fee shall be required to state that a fee shall be, or strike that line, sorry.
I'll second it.
So we moved and seconded that we go ahead and approve striking the words no fee shall be charged be required for the application on 1016-8. All in favor? 4 in favor. All right, 4.
Clean it up, clean it up.
Consider engineer contract and scope of work for the East First Sewer Project. Dave is not here.
Right, and I wasn't sure if he was gonna be here today. I just knew he had sent me this, so I put him on just in case. So behind the memo, you have the, and he's talked about this before, of what the scope of work would be and what the fees would be. This is just to finalize it and to get a signature on it. It spells out what they will be doing. Dave's already signed his copy on the back, and I believe the cost is about 90,000,
Yeah, that's what it says.
and that includes inspections and,
The completion date's still on the 15th, right?
yeah.
This was just the finalized after they had accepted the bid.
Have we had any meetings with H&K on this? Justin,
Yes.
we have.
There was a pre-construction meeting.
We already have,
meeting.
okay.
And then when they've talked to him one time since.
Okay,
And they usually get things done in the 15th year.
so we need to go ahead and approve this scope of work.
Right?
Yes,
This
and
contract.
you need a
Roll call vote.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve the contract for engineering services for the scope of work on East First Street.
I'll second it.
it's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and approve the contract for the scope of work for the East First Sewer Project. Jeff,
Aye.
Blake,
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
Aye. 4 ayes. All right, number 5, Fox Crossing. Consider acceptance of findings of facts. BJ.
I emailed you earlier today, a draft for you to look over. I don't know if you've had a chance to look it over before tonight. If not, you can look over now. I tried to synthesize everything that had happened on the history of this application. The first part is kind of just a recitation of the procedural history. It goes through from the P&Z to the first denial to the reconsideration to the, anyway, kind of explains all that. And then the finding of fact, I just kind of tried to do kind of a summary of what the issues were, where there was concern, where there was compliance, all that sort of thing, based on the council's comments and the information that was presented. I didn't go into a ton of detail on all these things.
Right.
Number one, because it's not practical. It's also not necessary, but there needs to be enough there to, to explain why the council made the decision they did. And then the last section, the conclusions of law, is just kind of a statement for the legal basis for the council's decision. And then it recites the vote that was had at the 2 meetings ago. The 2-2 tie with the mayor breaking the tie, and so there's a place for everybody to sign based on where you voted. That's it. This is a draft. This, like I said, this was what I tried to do to take everything and put it into a tidy package. And so if you want to make changes, that's totally up to you. This is your findings, your conclusions, your decision. I just tried to draft it in a way that I thought reflected what the council was doing. So yeah, so if you have any feedback for me, yeah, Kim.
I just need some education. So does this have anything to do, like, or go into the development agreement? Like, no, that's totally
further in
separate.
the agenda.
Yeah, this
Okay.
does not.
Okay,
Nope.
this is just what we went through, making sure.
Yeah, this is just the basis for the decision
Okay,
to approve the preliminary plat.
Okay.
That's what this is for.
Okay.
So if you see anything that didn't look right, I understated something, I overstated something, I missed something, I added something that shouldn't have been there, whatever. If you see anything that you're like, I don't, that's not really what we meant or anything, that's the purpose of your review and to give me the feedback if I need to make more changes.
I read through it and I thought it was good. I didn't have any issues with it.
I didn't have any issues with it either.
do you want us to sign our copy that we have, or do you have one?
No, we'll
I've
have,
got one that I'll pass.
yeah,
Great.
Samuel and I'll sign the same.
So we need a motion to go ahead and approve the acceptance, right? The findings.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and approve the facts and findings as constituted.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and accept the findings of facts for Fox Crossing in the decision. All in favor? And 4 in favor. All right, recognition of citizens from the floor. Do we have anybody who would like to speak to us? Buddy? Okay. New council business licenses, 7A.
Shelley Auto Care had a new business license because the owner changed. So that was one of them. And then there was one renewal for D-Ray's Auto on East Center.
Wait, when did Shelley?
Did Ryan sell it?
Did Ryan sell it?
Who's the new owner?
Yeah, you should have
I
the
don't. It says it's handwritten.
Says a new
Adam
owner.
on your underneath your building permit, your
The actual
license and
actual
everything there.
Adam might have it because he's in charge. Who is it?
Joshua Cameron.
Joshua Cameron?
Cameron.
Yep. He lives in Ingham.
Right, Ryan.
That's right.
I guess he was done.
Right.
All right.
Interesting. I make a motion that we accept the business licenses as stated.
I'll second it.
So moved and second that we go ahead and approve the business licenses as stated. All in favor? 4 in favor. All right. 4B, appointment of department heads. We tabled this from the last meeting, but we're going to go ahead and do it this meeting. We need to approve, or I guess we need to appoint department heads for each one that we're over. So, Jeff, you want to start?
Yeah, right. I will go ahead and make an appointment that we reappoint as the clerk, city clerk, treasurer, all around person who does everything in the office.
You mean that in a compliment? That's a compliment too, right, Jeff?
Is that the job description?
Party planner.
Yeah.
Party planner, yeah. Sandy.
She's writing all this down, you know.
Yes, she is.
I'm writing
So-
fast.
I'll second,
Do I have a second?
second Jeff's motion.
It's been moved and second that we go ahead and appoint Sandy as the city treasurer. All in favor?
Thank you.
Okay. Wait. Wait. Yeah, I don't think you.
What do you do?
Go ahead.
No,
Oh, I just want to make sure you don't have to appoint yourself
no.
or what? I need to make the appointment for Public Works Department head as Justin Johnson.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and reappoint Justin Johnson as the Public Works Director. All in favor? Okay. Do we need to do building inspector too or no?
The ones that are appointed is the attorney, the engineer, the department heads, and we've never did the building.
Okay.
inspector.
All right.
That's what's been,
We already did the
Yeah.
engineer.
Okay.
Just to implement, yeah.
We already did the engineer.
We did do the engineer?
Yeah, we usually do
Because
the
we appoint them
engineer
as we do.
and the attorney.
Yeah.
And then the department heads. I
Right, but
think
we
we're
haven't
right.
done the engineer yet, right?
Huh.
So I need to make a motion that we appoint Forrester and Associates, our city engineer, as Dave Noel is their lead on that.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and approve Forsgren and Associates as our city engineer. All in favor? 4 in favor? Jeff did it like
he
way
was first.
turn.
Oh,
You gotta-
okay.
You got a finger up. He's over here with you.
Okay.
Okay. Kim,
Sorry.
I'd like to reappoint Michael Anderson. I don't know. I think he has a middle name, but you won't tell me. As our department head for Parks and Rec.
I'll second it.
it's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and reappoint Michael Anderson as the department manager of our Parks and Rec. All in favor? Okay. Four in favor. All right. I'd like to go ahead and reappoint Rod Moeller as the chief of police for the city of Shelley.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and approve Rod Moeller as the chief of police for the city of Shelley. All in favor?
Thank you.
And I'd like to reappoint BJ Driscoll as the city attorney for the city of Shelley.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and approve BJ Driscoll as the city attorney. All in favor? Okay, that's all of them, right?
And get tired of going up and down. Jeff.
Okay.
So sorry for you.
All right, 7C, consider Fox Crossing Development Agreement.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead. I sent it to him this afternoon, but I'm not sure if everybody had time to read it, but it's behind here now.
So, we received an initial draft development agreement from the developer's attorney. And it looked like, I'm not sure exactly what he started from or what he did. He kind of customized it to this application with some of the things that we'd already discussed. It looked like he had probably used the development agreement, maybe got a copy of it from Blake Raleigh or somebody, of the parks development agreement. It looked like it had some similarities there, and which is totally fine. I'm just explaining the background, kind of where it came from. And then, and so then I went through it, made a couple of notes from some feedback that we got from the department heads. It's still in the negotiation phase, but included some of that. And then I understand that there was going to be some more discussion tonight on a couple of things. Maybe Jeff wanted to talk a little bit about. I don't know, but anyway, this is a work in progress. You can look over if you hadn't, like Sandy said, if you didn't have a chance to look over tonight, look it over. You can schedule a work meeting with the whole council with the developers. You can just have one or the department heads meet with them and kind of hammer out some of the details and bring it back. I mean, lot of flexibility here in terms of how you want to proceed. We're just trying to keep the process moving forward.
Right,
And
right.
yep. So this takes what they incorporated, and I think the way that I did this, it shows the changes that you're seeing. Those are the changes that I made. Everything that is kind of original text was already in what Mr. Taggart sent to us, and so that gives you an idea in terms of what I added or what he had in there. Yeah, so it just gives you an idea of kind of where that language might have come from. But anyway, it's just here for your. I don't know if there's anything in particular. The only thing I had a little bit of a question on that I would ask the council's direction on as far as where to go from here. We typically have a requirement that construction, once it begins on a development, is completed within 3 years. That obviously wouldn't work for this project because they're talking about it at least 5 years, right? And so I didn't know exactly how you wanted me to word that, how to add that in there. So, and I couldn't remember either if this was to be done in phases or if it was going to be done as one complete phase. I think it is going to be done in phases.
I believe it's going to be done in phases.
Maybe
Yes.
you can answer that.
Yes.
So the way that we drafted that would be 3 years from the commencement of the phase. It would need to be complete. Now, according to the timeline that they're anticipating, that shouldn't be a problem at all. But anyway, so that's how I drafted that, and that's in section, I think it's 4.0. Yeah, 4.0.
Typically, when a developer comes in and they have one phase approved, the timeline starts when it's approved, when the final plat is approved for that phase line.
Yeah.
So if only phase 1 is approved, then that's when that would start. And then when phase 2 happens, then this is what we did in the past. Then that development agreement has an addendum added to it that will add anything new that might be done in that second phase plus a new
like
a new
we did out of
expiration.
Copper Meadows for their first
Right.
right?
Yeah. And we did it for Sunset Vista.
Sunset Vista too, because he changed his whole plat on the second phase to do those townhomes, right?
The only other thing that's not included here, we have included them on a couple of different projects, but not on all projects. And that's any kind of a performance bond to ensure the completion of that. Now, again, I don't know if that may not be a concern on this project, but that's something else that I know is an issue.
We've talked about that.
So I didn't add that. I
I
didn't
thought
add.
we did that once before.
We've done
did
it.
for
We did for,
We've done it
for
on a
Sunset
couple.
Vista,
and we did for,
Copper Meadows.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Copper
No,
Meadows.
we couldn't
did it
have-
for
no,
what's
'cause
his-
that's-
we did it
that's
for, what's his name? Jed Young on this project.
Yeah. So we don't do it all the time. I didn't add it to this in this particular draft. That's just another one of the issues that's kind of hanging out there on the edge of.
What do you call that again? BJ, performance
The
bond?
performance bond.
Yeah, just security to ensure completion.
Finish the work.
Again, I think they're pretty committed to the project. I don't have any specific concerns. This just be one
Yeah,
of those
I'm
things.
concerned with that. I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah.
I don't either,
So-
actually.
So that's it. Everything else is just in there for your consideration.
I have a couple issues.
Unless there's
One in
anything else.
regards to Taylor Highway and its expansion. That's not in here anywhere
Yeah.
that I can see.
Well, it's vague. It states improvement to the road.
I know.
Yeah, yeah, and
It's vague.
that was one of those areas that I didn't have any direction on.
We
and
need to have either a work meeting
I think we
or
need a work
something.
meeting. Because there's a couple of things in here that I saw as you put in there that I was like, wait, what does that say? Like it states that the city's responsible for the secondary water system after it's all completed. And I was like, wait, I thought that was always going to be back in their side.
No, only as it pertains to the retention ponds.
Right. And so it states
but not to the private lots.
HIJKL. Oh, I've got to get new glasses.
Yeah.
L, it states, and their respective irrigation systems and the like shall be
they're-
completed to the current standard
Yeah.
of the
Now,
city.
if we need to clarify that, we can. But if you'll read it, commas are powerful.
Yes.
I intentionally left out a comma after stormwater retention ponds to tie those irrigation systems to the retention ponds.
Right, but
So if we need to clarify that,
we need to clarify that
Mhm.
because we're not going to have the secondary water systems that are being mandated by
this doesn't have anything to do with secondary water
irrigation systems do though.
for the retention ponds. They're installing sprinklers, right?
Right.
In the retention ponds. And after they deed those retention ponds to the city, city's gonna be mowing that, city's gonna be responsible for the irrigation there.
Right. On
That's the
retention
only
ponds.
thing that this is talking about.
Oh, so typically we have them install a sprinkler system.
Well,
Right.
sprinklers are
Are part of the
irrigation, I guess.
irrigation
Are you just
system.
saying I need to
So
put
I think
sprinkler
no, I
system?
just think there
Clarify
needs to be some clarification of the
Okay.
secondary system versus what an irrigation system
Well,
would be in a
okay.
retention
And
pond.
we can do that, yeah, because that's not, that was not what the intention of that
Well,
was,
Jay
right?
says it's a developer shall install a surface water irrigation system which shall
Right.
pursuant to the covenants,
Right.
the CCRs maintained by the HOA.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
I get that.
and that's
then
why I
it just
thought that
states
was clear.
irrigation system or secondary. So it's just, and it is clear as you explain it, BJ.
There
As
is
I
a
read
lot.
it didn't.
And that, no, that, you know what, that's the ultimate test, whether I think it's clear or not, doesn't
it or
matter.
did we not? Are we
If-
talking the same thing or are we talking
It
different?
just needs to be clear, so I'm not gonna let, you know, there's no ego in this. If we want, we can change that to make that clearer, I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
What, you want me to say, just say, the sprinkler system instead of irrigation? Is that what you're saying, or what do you want me to do? Or I could
I
add
don't know.
a
I
statement
think
there that
that's
says.
part of what we need to have a work meeting for is to clarify some of these words
Okay,
as
well,
far as it
I'll
goes.
flag that one as one that you
Yeah,
want me to
That's one
clarify.
that we want to do. And then
There's
on,
one that I had a question
Yeah.
on. Where is that one?
I think this one. Is it this one? You
It
circled
was
it.
a road. Like they talked about one-way roads and only parking on the north
Parking.
side. I thought we said no
No
parking.
parking.
I wasn't aware of that. I do know the clause you're talking about. That is
G, number G.
G right there. Okay. Limit parking to one
Yes.
side of the street on the
Yes.
north and south and making one-way street inside
Yeah.
there. That's something that I know was discussed at one of the hearings, but I thought we came to the conclusion that we wanted off-street parking. Nothing should be parked on the road
Because of the safety.
because of that.
And we don't have one-way
Anywhere else in the
streets in
city.
Shelley.
So it's just one of those things that needs to be worked out during a work meeting.
okay.
So that we can get
Well,
the
I'll just
correct
I'll
words
just
and
put a-
clarification in there.
I'll just make a note on that, and then, like to say, after you talk through it, and whatever you decide.
On this subsection K, developer shall install portable water lines. We're referring to that as the secondary irrigation lines, right?
No, that's potable. That's in-house.
That's
drinking.
in-house
That's the ones that are going to connect to the city's
Okay.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah. The secondary irrigation lines are dealt with in.
Before that, G,
J.
J, or G. J?
Yeah.
J.
Yes. Okay.
Where do they go?
Wherever they
Where do those
wherever they
lines
want.
run?
They're
They're gonna
they're
have to
the
do the
irrigation. They
Yeah.
They're
prob-
gonna run right
Sprinkler.
behind the sidewalk, or is that where they're gonna run them? Or?
I can't remember in the plat.
we haven't seen a plot that
Haven't seen
showed
the
that
plat that
yet.
shows that.
We don't know.
We haven't got the improvement drawings at all on this.
The one that we had down at
subdivision.
Sunset Vista that has it running through, he runs them off the opposite side of where ours are, but inside the neighborhood they run alongside of ours. Is where he's gonna run them. But it's just how he's running it into the neighborhood that's different than what we originally talked about. Because he got permission to run it out and then in that second egg turns off of
Yeah.
baseline and then he's gonna run it up and then it's gonna run just like our water
These
lay over our water system inside the city. Side. That's how
on the back
he's
or the front of them?
I thought he was gonna run them with the water slipping from the front. I thought that's how it looked when I remembering his plat.
Okay.
Do we
I mean,
want?
I don't. Those
Are
are
you
ones that
talking
we
about
would
sharing
have to
that
talk about as we do that, right? We don't want to have to put it for their purposes and ours. We don't want to put them far away. We want to put them so you only have to dig one line. So we would want
Well,
them
do you want-
wherever we run ours.
you know
We
what?
would want them to lay near ours.
Okay, yeah, so I'm wondering, I hadn't thought about this, but do you want to put them in the same, are you talking about in the same trench?
We would run them with
You
our
want them in
water
the
system.
city right away?
Yeah. How else you gonna access them? Or how else are they gonna access them to fix them?
Well, they would.
Well, if they're on the
Right.
but if they're on the back of the property, that's up to them
Put up
to.
fences and do.
We don't-
I get you can do it whatever way.
Every property has an easement around.
Yeah, right.
it.
So you can get to
And
it.
so
from-
you can put them in the back of the property, it doesn't matter.
Sounds like we
Kinda
just
up
need
to
to wait
them.
and see where they're proposed putting it.
And then talk about that. But when we talked about it previously with Justin, you can help me understand, but I thought we talked about doing these secondaries. We would want them with our system. or at least close.
We don't want them ran with our system.
Yeah, I don't think
If
so.
there's a secondary break and they have their water line under the asphalt, we don't want to sub digging up the street just to repair an irrigation line.
Yeah. I
So
think
we talked
they
about running it in the park strip, which is going to make it tight because we have all of our water meter pits in the park strips. We talked about it right on the other side of the sidewalk. We've also discussed in the back of the properties.
And that was what I was thinking. Was
So
back
did
of
I,
the
was the
sidewalk, back of the property.
Yeah, whatever we do, guys, we don't want it running with our utilities. Just that much more we have to dig around and worry about and tear up asphalt.
Yeah, we don't want to damage their stuff.
We need to be careful.
Well, you just want to stay away from the asphalt.
We don't want them to damage our stuff. Just
I get it.
Right.
So my last issue was in regards to a section that they developed. They know that the way we develop it, we require a division to be developed in full before you can get a CO.
right.
So are they gonna just conform their divisions to the?
So
By
I
phase-
think
by
you wrote
phase.
that, you wrote
By
it.
phase.
Yeah.
It's in there as phase.
That one's in, I think, K.
K,
I think and I think it
No,
shows
it's M.
M.
what they had
I think it's
proposed
that part.
is it just had to be done on that particular street.
It talks about
In front of the
your
home.
phase.
Yeah, I
Right.
think that's
But the whole phase has to be finished before
that's
they
that's
see
what
us.
that's what we required in the
Okay,
past
so now-
and what we're talking about here. So
Okay, that was all the ones I had.
So we probably should set up a work meeting and talk about some of these things, get it all hashed out. On both our, for us, for
do you want
them
to
and for our side.
do you want to do that as a council, or do you want to do that as
I think we
I
can
think
do this.
Leif and Justin could do it.
We can do it. Justin and I can be
Okay.
there and we can get
that gives you more flexibility in terms of scheduling and posting and all that other stuff, right? So you can just work with everybody's schedule.
And because we're gonna have Dave there to talk about some of these things too. I would think.
Can
Right,
you,
Justin?
Oh.
You would want Dave there too?
Yeah, it may not hurt to have Dave there just for where he's done a few of these before. He may have some other ideas that we don't think of, like, so it's probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have Dave.
I would think so.
the only other thing that was brought up to me that you might want to just briefly talk about so Leif and Justin can hear it is section N. There was several different numbers thrown out about how many building permits would be issued a year. There was 75 and there was 50 thrown out. What are you thinking to propose
So
for that?
you do it on the 5-year plan, cause I just did the numbers. That's where the 75 number comes from, to finish it within the 5 years. Cause they wouldn't be able to, it'd be 7.5 if they did 50. Now, that being said, it's still, 75 is a lot. And that's one of the things that I thought we could fix in this, so we'd have to think about that. What do you guys think about lengthening out the time that the neighborhood gets done?
Well, if they do less, as long as you get it done with that 3-year period beyond, right?
Well, yeah,
we're
because each
saying
phase
5.
has 3 years.
We're saying 5. And if the clock
know.
starts like Sandy says, you got 3 years from the time the phase is done, then yes, we would be inside of that.
So they could be slower than that.
Yeah, the 75 is a maximum.
Yeah. So that's fine.
My issue has always been that it's too much for the city.
Yeah. 75.
So
you
I
can
would
do
be,
3
I would
blocks
actually
of
be closer to
75.
50 myself. That would be my
And that's my thought
recommendation.
on that too. Just so that we're able to keep up with it, right? So if it's
Is
50, then it's enough that we have time to save for another garbage truck. We have time to get hired another individual. If it's in between the winter and the not winter, we got time to get a plow, enough time to get that whole schedule redone so that we're
Well,
plowing in a timely
where did I see
manner.
55
That was one of the numbers that was thrown out during one of our meetings.
by
It
us.
was 50. I think both.
Well, we've always talked about a 5-year build out.
Right.
So either we have to expand that 5 years out, talk to them about expanding it out, or we've got to have it 75 or ramp up from that point. Or, from 50 to ramp up to more.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out of the box. Can we say so many the first year, but maybe year 3?
So that's what the mayor was
That's
Is
just
that
what
what
saying.
it's saying?
said.
Just
We'd have
ramp
to
it going.
ramp up.
Okay.
And
And just
that's
get
what
it in and get it done in the 5
And
years.
this is where we would spell that out. So that's where That's one of the only other things I saw in there that I thought about. That's something that we should be able to work out through work meeting and time wise.
I just don't have a big deal with 75.
You like that number? It's round for you.
Well, it's not that it's round for me. I mean, this is what they initially came to us with.
Right. And it's a lot.
And it's, you know, if they have to make that many homes, then good luck. I mean, it's a lot of houses.
You're just like, that's a lot of houses. I think it's something that, one, it helps us control it. I know it's not ideal for them, but it helps us control it so that we're not in phase 2 or 3, we're behind the 8 ball. Because we haven't planned and we don't have enough, but yet they have enough built and stuff done that they can do COs. And so now we have to plow it, we have to have that done. That's where I'm looking at.
If we extend it, could it hurt us in the long run? Like if everything drops and we have something just half built or something?
Yeah.
So there's that
hurts
thing
us and
too.
them if
Yeah,
that happens.
yeah.
So I get it.
I think that's just something, I don't think a number needs to be, I think it needs to be discussed. Cause I, with the mayor, I thought it was a 5-year plan. So if we start lower and move our way up, or if we just do 75 every year, I don't have a,
What are we worried about?
I'm worried, personally, I'm worried about those homes plus all the other homes coming on all at the same
At the
time.
same time, because we didn't, you know, there's controls to a certain degree in others like the parks and Sunset Vista and others, but they're not asking for the number and they're not hitting their numbers either. I mean, they're not like, it's not like they're hustling out there and got, you know, 30 homes built or 40 homes built. But if things loosen up and everybody can build and we get supply chain running, there's not a problem with everybody moving forward. So now you've got 195 homes being built versus 165 or 155. So can we keep up? Is our plan to get the infrastructure in place and done going to be able to supply them with what they need? In other words, we're not holding them up. We can still pick up trash. We can plow roads. We can supply them with.
Well, remember on the
all that
trash
stuff.
issue, there was some discussion, and I put this in here because of the discussion. Some discussion of a coverage until the city could catch up and assume that. I don't know again the details of how that's going to work out, but I did put a placeholder
in
there
for
for,
that. I saw that,
for
which is great, and that's something that we should once again needs to be hashed out and decided.
Well, I don't know how much you're going to. I mean, you're welcome to, of course, take as much time as you want tonight to think about it. One question I do have, though, Mr. Taggart had requested a copy of this. He wanted it before the meeting tonight. I said, I don't know why. I said, it's still tentative. I need to get your feedback first. But moving forward, I do want to share a copy with them, even if it's not approved tonight, just so that they have in front of them
so they know
what we're looking at. Right. And so I would,
Mr. Anderson here tonight.
Well, yeah, but I just deal with the attorneys deal with the attorneys.
Lawyers talk to lawyers.
I'm sure Steve will get a copy of it to him. I'm not worried about that. But anyway, so he had requested a copy. I just said, you know what? Let me hold off and get the feedback from the city council first, because I don't want to send this piecemeal. You know what I mean? I'd send him one copy, then we talk tonight, and I'd send him another copy, and then so I just said, hey, we're meeting tomorrow night. Let me get their feedback, and then we'll go from there. So I'm planning on sending him a copy with whatever changes you or whatever instructions you give me tonight, but just so everybody's up to speed.
Okay, so to save time, because Jeff wants to drive to Boise too.
Hey, how many phases are they trying to build this in? I mean, is it like 5 phases, 4 phases?
3.
Has anybody seen a plot plan?
Do you guys have an idea?
Exactly how many
We haven't
phases?
seen anything since the preliminary act.
The way the commercial contractor works is
they have what?
He's got his own divisions, and they're not divisions that correlate with typical subdivisions.
Yeah.
It's like 47, and they're just batches of about 10 or 12 houses that they'll all build at once. But I mean, it could be 3, it could be 5. I mean, we probably want to correlate it with the time frame that we end up with.
Yeah.
It's a 5-year time
Definitely
frame.
want to correlate
5 divisions. Stick with that. But we can be flexible on that.
Mayor, were you able to hear that?
No.
Basically, Mr. Sean Anderson's here tonight, and he just said that they're flexible on that. They could go 3 phases, they could go 5 phases. That's one of the things that they can talk about.
Because of how their builders do it.
Well, I guess my thinking is, I don't wanna say they can only do X amount of houses and it'd be only half of phase 1, when we're saying you have to finish the first phase in order to get
Yeah.
occupancy.
That's what he's saying too.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you want, from what, I flagged a couple of those things that have question marks, you can talk about them. I will give Mr. Taggart a heads up too, but I'll go ahead and email him a copy then of this version.
Yeah,
unless- unless you
I
want
don't
me-
think that version's bad. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think
there's
the
just some
version's
tweaks
bad.
that we need.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a draft for a reason.
Right.
You guys need to go work on the details on a few of these things, so no, I just took it as far as I felt like I could based on what I
Right.
knew.
Right.
But no.
But it would give him an idea of where we're going.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
and a lot of these things too, just for the record, and Mr. Taggart can know or whatever, but a lot of these things that I added towards the end, they're actually the boilerplate language from, we have a development agreement form that we've used for years, and we just kind of tweak and do things. I took some of that boilerplate stuff and added back in, so a lot of these things that you'll see that I added, it wasn't because I thought, oh, this application, this subdivision needs this. It's just stuff that was in there before, basic terms and things that we talk about. It's a contract. You can put in what you want, you can take out what you want. It's up to you guys. But anyway, that's where we're at now.
Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, send him the one you have, and then we just need to we need to figure out a date and time. So Justin and I will get with you.
so really, there's no motion needed. We
You can just table it.
we need to table it for right now, but we want to get a work meeting
Scheduled.
scheduled.
But we can put that on for any time between now and whenever we want.
Okay, I know that Dave will be gone February 23rd and won't be back till I think March 3rd or something like that. And then he'll be going to the IDWR conference, so we'll Justin mid-March to end of March. Justin, when is the date
So
on
it sounds like
that?
you want to do it sooner than later.
Sandy, I believe the date was March 9th through the 11th, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so either between now and February 23rd, or there's a little window in March between times.
Well, let's do it the first part of February so we can move forward.
So I was thinking before next meeting.
Yeah.
So that we can move forward.
So.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that we table the approval of the draft or the development agreement until after our work meeting, which will take place in the first part of February.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and table the development agreement for Fox Crossing until a work meeting can be held. All in favor? 4 in favor. All right. Consider schedule for movie in the park nights. So you'll get with Justin
Me
and
Justin will
get
come
with
up with because
them.
he's still sick. So when Justin gets back, or I'll call him, we'll set that up and get a hold of him.
Okay.
Send some emails around. I think that second week in February, well, maybe before next week, 3rd or 4th. I'll look at it and see.
Okay. Movie in the park. Justin would like to discuss this. Movie in the park.
Yeah, I'll discuss it briefly, guys. So the gal with Idaho Falls Park and Rec, she called me a couple weeks ago and she was going to send me a schedule. I haven't seen it yet, so I'll reach out to her tomorrow. The main idea was City of Ammon, City of Idaho Falls, and Shelley. We're going to show movies this summer, and we just didn't want to show the same movies, and we didn't want to have all the same movies on the same night of the week. So we was going to try to work with the other 2 cities so we all had different movies going on different nights of the week. So if people want to bounce around, it gives them more of an area to go around and see different movies. So I guess what I would say for right now is kind of keeping maybe the next couple of weeks to a little thinking on which night you think Shelley would like to do it and maybe how many movies. And like I say, I'll try to get a schedule from her in the next few days, and then we can discuss it next meeting.
Okay. Any other comments? Thoughts?
That's a great idea. I'm working with that. Hold the PJ and talking to, because I gotta get a hold of PJ and that's
Okay. So we need to table that till next meeting. Need
Let's
motion.
table until we get a schedule. I'll make a motion that we table the movies in the park scheduling until we get a schedule from Idaho Falls.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and table schedule for movie in the park nights until next meeting. All in favor? 4 in favor. All right, consider education reimbursement for public works employee. Justin.
All right, guys. So Chad Armstrong, he shows a lot of interest in wanting to take some welding classes. He's actually signed up with ISU. He started some classes 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. It's they do a beginner, an intermediate, and then an advanced class. So each class has this. It's every Thursday night. It's and each block is a 6-week program. So beginners is 6 weeks, then he'll go to intermediate for 6 weeks, and then the final for 6 weeks. Tuition for the class is approximately $325 per block. So we're just a touch under $1,000. Anyways, I thought I'd talk to you guys about it. We do a lot of welding over in the shop, a lot of fabrication. All of the trailers we have, we've built our own trailers. We work on our dump trucks, repairing beds, repairing snow plows, brackets, lawnmower equipment. So we do quite a bit of fabrication and welding over there, and that is something that Chad is really interested in doing. Chad's been a great asset to the city. I feel like he'd be a really good guy to put some time and money into, and I think he's going to stick it out with us for quite a while, hopefully forever, to be honest with you, at least till I retire. So anyways, so I guess what I'm asking, I don't know if the city's willing to help him out with some tuition, somewhere right around $1,000, and then for the tools that he had to purchase for the class, welding helmet, chipping hammer, gloves, safety glasses, stuff like that, he's about $450 in tools. So anyway, I guess it's a proposal. I'm proposing that to see if the city would be willing to help him out with his schooling.
Where would we take, what
So-
budget do you take that from?
It would probably come out of Public Works budget. I really haven't set anything up because a lot of people haven't used this, but I did give you a copy of the page that is in the personnel manual. It's a little bit different, but because of the sickness and that, it didn't get brought before he had to register for the class. So this basically says they have to be approved before they register, but we wasn't able to do that in this situation. It does say that that he could be paid for his time, reimbursed for reasonable travel expenses, and for the class fees. When we did this in the past, which again, we haven't did this a lot, we paid for the class if they've had a passing grade or higher. I think, Justin, are you asking for his tools to be paid for too, or are you just asking for the class?
I guess mainly would be the class. The tools will not be, they're not city tools, right? They're tools that he can have.
Right.
And so we've already got tools at the shop, so he won't need to bring them tools in. So,
Okay.
So really for the tuition.
Class.
Okay, there is a clause here that says if the reimbursement is approved, the mayor and city council may, at their discretion, require the employee to sign an agreement with the city to ensure that the employee will remain employed by the city for a specific time period. Do you think he'd be willing to do that if the mayor and council ask? Okay.
I think that should be part of the plan, and I think he ought to sign a contract for maybe like up to a year. If we did like a 12-month program or something. That'd be my
I think
proposal.
that's what we should do.
And Justin and I
I'm
talked
up
about this before our last meeting, which nobody came to, right?
Right.
Because everybody was sick or whatever it was. So I think that's what we should do. We talked about having him sign a 12-month after his
He'll
class
save
is
us
done,
money,
so-
the city money, not
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
by having that education.
So I make a motion, we go ahead and pay for his tuition while with the agreement for 12 months he made with the city.
I'll second it.
Still, part of that too with the policy is that he completes the course with a C grade or better, right?
Right. As stated, right? It states right
In the
there.
standard in the
In the
policy.
Yeah.
policy. I'll second it.
It's been moved and second that we go ahead and approve the tuition reimbursement for Chad. Is it Chad?
Yeah, it's Chad.
Yeah, Chan.
Yeah, Chad Armstrong. According to the educational reimbursement that we have in our policy. All in favor? 4 in favor. All right, number F, letter F, whatever. In Shelley, we have numbers that are Fs. Fence for neighboring property near lift station and Grover subdivision. Justin.
All right, guys. So this is just a little back history on here. This is on the Grover Edition where our lift station is. What we are thinking that happened is when that Grover Edition was put in, 20 years ago, there was a dedicated lot for the lift station. We're thinking that dedicated block got moved so they could build a house on it. And they put the lift station on two properties. So there's like 10 feet on one neighbor and 10 feet on the other, splits the neighbors. So we had Ford's going to come down, do some surveying. We're going to get everything recorded. So it does show that as an easement. We've got two pumps down there. It's a 30-foot vault. That's where the Grover Edition flows into. Then it's pumped and gravity fed out to the plant. So anyways, to work with these homeowners, the homeowner on the south side of the property asked if we would be willing to maybe put up a fence. Both of these properties are fenced in on the back and facing the front, but there's not one going down the dividing line. And so 6-foot white privacy fence is what both properties already have. We'd be looking at somewhere around $1,800 to $2,000 to have that fence put in this spring, if we'd like to do that. I think we got a lot of money invested and stuff sitting on that property right now. I think it just shows good faith on the city's end to work with these homeowners and get this done.
Would they split the cost?
I have not approached him about splitting the cost. He asked if we paid in full. I talked to both property owners probably about a month ago, maybe around Christmas time. So I could go back and present that to him if you'd like me to.
Did we take down any? You said there is an existing vinyl fence
On there.
There's an existing vinyl fence, BJ, that just goes around the face of the house and the back property, but nothing on the front of the property dividing the two lines.
Right. So we didn't tear out their fences to do what we needed to do, but we are working with them on this easement, and it would tie in with their properties then.
Correct. It would make both of their properties cosmetically tie in with what they already have, but it also gives us, I guess, an easement that we can get on there to replace pumps, work on things. I mean, it's like I said, I'm not sure whatever happened in the past. We probably need to get this figured out and recorded right now.
It's in our own stuff anyway. Yeah, Justin, it's helping you fencing it in, right?
It's probably just
so right now the lift station is already fenced in with white privacy fence, so it'll tie in with our lift station fence plus the neighbor's fence. So it wouldn't be an eyesore. It would look like it was there for a reason.
We design new developments with this kind of thing. We should just
Because our new
go back.
But instead of us, if I go out there right now and work on the pumps, really I'm on private property to work on our pumps. Is that, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So you want to?
Well, but we're getting it. You said we are getting an easement though, right?
Yeah, we're getting it surveyed with an easement.
Yeah. So it's I believe it's been surveyed. I have not talked to Dave about that, but I do know a few weeks ago Mark was down surveying it, so I need to see where we're at with that. But yes, we're going to survey it. We'll have the exact.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think we ought to tie the two together. That ought to be
Right.
because they're giving up part of the use of their property with this easement.
Right.
I'd say work with them. Let's do the fence if they'll give us the easement, and we tie them together. And
So I'll make a motion if the property owner is willing to give us the easement, that we will go ahead and fence the easement area in
with the 6-foot vinyl.
6-foot vinyl fences be discussed.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that if the easement is granted by the property owner, that we'll go ahead and cover the cost of the 6-foot fence. All in favor? 4 in favor. All right, letter G, discuss prohibiting parking on street on Opal Court. Justin.
All right, guys. So we over there in Opal Court and Topaz with the new 54 units and all of the little fourplexes over there, we have a lot of people parking on the street. I was going to try to reach out to the postmaster and see if they're blocking mailboxes, but we're noticing they're blocking all of the garbage pads and the garbage cans. So we go over to dump garbage cans and we're missing anywhere from 2 cans to 4, 5, 6 cans, twice a week because we cannot access the cans because there's a vehicle in front of them. So I think it's, excuse me, Sandy can correct me on this, but I believe for Multiple Court and Topaz, when them homes were put in 18 or 20 years ago, they were given permission to park on the street. But the homes from that intersection headed east that have been put in the last few years, I think we need to do some no parking on the street, get some signs put up, paint the street up. We've got to keep that clear so we can dump garbage cans. We've got probably the 54 units have 9 cans. I would dare guess there's probably 14 commercial cans all in that area, in that small area right there.
Toby said that he's had issues.
Yeah.
All winter long.
Right.
Stop me at the grocery store.
So this come about, guys, a few weeks ago, and in all honesty, the 54 unit people, I don't believe it's them. I believe it's the other people on the fourplexes parking in front of them cans. But when Toby goes over to dump them cans, he can't dump all the cans, and then there's garbage overflowing, and then they're calling, wondering why they're paying for a full service, and yet we can't dump the can, and I'm not sure what to tell them.
So how far are we going with the no parking on the street? The entire street?
Well, ideally, we would do the whole street, but I think what's already been made, I think we'd go from the intersection of Opal Court and Topaz, headed east into the cul-de-sac.
That's our issue.
So that area at least.
Well, it's that, so the first ones that were
From
built.
Topaz back to
all the way
the
back
cul-de-sac is where we're saying
is where
we're
we're having issues.
Right. Right, from Topaz back.
Yes, from Topaz headed east into the cul-de-sac, so from Topaz back.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm with
So do
If we're gonna do
we
it,
need to create
is
an
the
ordinance that
police
says
gonna-
they can't park on the street?
I believe y'all have to just post no parking. You don't have to have ordinance.
I don't have to have anything to do.
Post signs up,
Ours,
says
and
no
as
parking.
long as we post, no parking and put the sign that says, vehicle will be towed at owner's expense. If it's there, we don't even have to, give it a 48-hour sticker. It's in no parking zone, as long as the sign states it, we'll tow.
Well, and this, I was just looking at this too.
It's not that
They were,
big
they
an
were,
area.
well, it's not, plus, each one of those units was given a park, they have their own parking. It's not like they have no place to go. They
No.
have,
Well, here's the
Each one
problem.
of those
My
has
son-in-law just moved over there. The garages are full, so they can't park in the garage. Then they have 2 or 3
that's
cars.
America's problem.
That is America's.
That's
So-
America's problem.
People
and
don't
so
use
they're
garages for
parking.
their
They have,
cars.
and so they have the 2 spots out front. Well, they own 3 cars. So,
Okay, that's also an American
I
problem.
know. So that's the problem. So, and he said they've only been there not even a month, and he says it blows my mind how the plowing, because cars are parked out there, that makes it harder.
Yeah.
The garbage. He's like, and we're going to get complaints because the garbages are overflowing.
Well, it just solves the problem. It's
Yep.
not our problem.
No
That
parking on the
street needs to be.
They've got off-street parking, there's nearby storage units.
Yeah,
That's right. Call
So-
and ask.
exactly. The
Because
building left
he
and right,
plowed his
so-
snow up and around, which I said was going to be a problem. And he said, "Oh no, it won't be." He's got mounds of snow.
So I make a motion that we go ahead and restrict parking on the street from Topaz to the cul-de-sac.
So Topaz running north, and then from that intersection with Opal back into the cul-de-sac to the east.
Do you want Topaz no parking too?
It's already no parking, isn't it? Isn't that what you
No.
said? Oh, okay. I thought
No,
you- I
I'm
thought
saying
you-
from Topaz back.
From the Topaz
oh,
intersection.
just from
From
the
Topaz
intersection.
back.
So
right.
you can still park on Topaz.
Right.
Just wanted to clarify that.
And that's fair.
Justin, would
You
that
make a
help?
motion? I did make a motion.
Would that work, Justin? It's just on Opal
Yeah.
Court.
That would help a lot, guys, if we just did the intersection of Opal Court and Topaz headed east into the cul-de-sac. And then, like I said, I am going to need some help on the PD side because we're going to have to kind of watch that. And I can get with Rod and see how we need to word this sign, but we can't give them a 24-hour notice. We can't, we need to be able just to move the car at their expense if they start parking in front of us. So however we do it,
I agree.
That's fine.
It's just a sign
you
that
know,
says,
it costs us money
no
to go back
parking,
over there
prohibited
3 or 4
towing.
times with that garbage truck to try to dump them cans
Yeah.
because people are parking in front of them.
yeah,
Do
So
we,
we're gonna have to, it's gonna be a joint agreement, you know, between all departments. We're gonna have to work that area together. And I honestly think once we tow 1 or 2 or get over there and make some phone calls, word of mouth, they'll quit parking in front of us. But we need to start somewhere.
okay,
Jeff made a
Hey,
motion, I'll
hey,
second.
real quick, Justin, do we have problems the other direction on Opal Court? People parking in front of the garbage cans, or is it just at that end?
We don't have near the problems on the other end, Mayor. We've had a few issues, but that's just been going and talking to whoever owns that one vehicle, and we've been able to work through that. Just keep in mind, this whole area is tight, right? Like, it doesn't matter if we're sweeping the streets, plowing snow, doing whatever. It's just a real tight area to get in and try to do any maintenance in there. So, but as far as the main thing has been the garbage this last month, and so if we can get that in worked out, I think we can still, work through the rest of the stuff like we have been doing.
no, they're not, they're
Okay.
millennials, they won't walk that far.
All right. So we had a motion.
Like,
Yeah.
And Lee second. All right. So motion was given for prohibiting parking on street on Opal Court from Topaz back or east to the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
All right. All in favor?
Who seconded that? Was it
I
Lee?
did.
Lee.
Okay.
There's just a number of people who are living
4.
right in that certain area. And you're like, Kim's right, fill the garage. We got 2
All right.
4 cars.
H. Access to Brolem's parking lot from State Street. Jeff.
Okay, years ago, and I don't know if it was you, Adam,
It
or
was you and I, and we talked to
sat
the
and
state.
talked to the state highway department about that merge zone when we were realigning all of State Street. And one of the issues that we had there is we said, we got this problem, we don't want it to merge right there, we would like it to merge further down. And the reason they couldn't give us a bigger street there, because we wanted to widen the street, is because of where the power poles are and the railroad track.
That's right.
So because of that, we're stuck. And so they said to us, what you could do is you could go to the owners of Brolem's and to the
Good to go.
Good to go place and acquire a right of way from them. And of course, we would just ask them to give it to us because we're benefiting them by doing it. And then use our paver, just pave a driveway turn in there. And then the state said that they would put signage up on the sign indicating that that one lane would be a right turn into those businesses and not a thoroughfare, and that the only left lane would go through and that the very right lane would turn on Fur.
Is this heading south on?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so
that is a,
they would put a white line down there, and then the police would enforce that, and then we would solve this problem that we're starting to see more and more cars be aggressive there at that intersection.
yeah.
Well, yeah, because the traffic is getting more and more, and that's why.
Right.
my concern is you take away, and I don't know how much feet will it be part of the parking at Brolem's?
It takes none of the parking, it just
Yeah.
takes that grass
That grassy area.
Okay, just the grass. So
It's just that little grass area. In fact,
I thought that ought to have been done for a long time.
you could pull in there now.
Yeah, you can.
It's just
wide
that
enough.
if
for
we
you to
take
mark.
our 9-foot paver and just give it a little bit more pavement, then it will naturally flow into that.
And it'll be
So
safer.
And
just-
then signage will show that that's just where people.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already kind of worn a path. Some people have worn a path
Yeah,
already,
the
right?
grass anyway.
So it's really just paving the dang thing.
So it's just paving. I think we go to Dick, Roland, and to the others and just say, listen, you donate it to us, we'll give you a kickback, whatever. I mean, if they want some kind of offset or something, but we're not paying for it.
So how far
Just
it
say that
would
we
go?
do the work.
So it would
Right.
just it would
And
continue
we just
down
do
the
the work.
sidewalk.
State
and
highway
cross
department said
with
we
that
just
line.
gonna
You're not
pave it
talking
down
very
there.
much at all.
No, it doesn't take
pavement.
much.
That's it.
But it would take more right here too.
No, it wouldn't take any of that.
Okay.
Because with the asphalt, that's already
It's just
there.
the
and-
sidewalk.
It's just
and-
that.
and
That's
the-
all.
There's really,
right
yeah.
there, right, there's not that much there left. It
No.
would be hard.
It wouldn't be hard to do. That way we just.
But it would be defined though. That's what
Yeah,
it would
that's-
be good.
It'd
It
be
would
defined, and then the state signage up above
Yeah. Yeah.
indicating, businesses this way.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
And then we just solve all the problems.
That's been awkward for a long time.
Then we don't have anybody else smashing into the signs.
Arctic Circle sign.
Someone pitting someone
For
into
you,
it,
maybe, not for me.
pitting it into a parked car or something.
Where it lives,
And it wouldn't cost us anything. I just think we just get a survey and have that done, put it into the right of way, and then just pay them. That'll be it. Rome should go for it. Benefit them.
Well, I agree. So yeah, who's gonna go do the talking?
Who's doing it?
Oh, I ain't gonna talk to Rome.
No, I have no problem doing it either. So
I just figured somebody here in the city could, right? I'll go talk to him. So I'll make a motion that we go ahead and do that. Talk to the state about changing the signage up above. That has to be a part of it. And they gotta put a white strip down the,
at the time we talked to them, they were agreeable to that.
they were agreeable to that. And so if they're still agreeable to that, conditioned upon that, then I recommend we go ahead and obtain that additional right of way by them donating it to us. And we just use the paver to pay that turn in there. A little more formal, and that'll be it.
And people are already doing it anyway. They just need the lines.
Yeah.
And it would be safer and better to to pave it a little bit more.
So that would be my motion.
So your motion is to move forward.
Conditioned upon the fact that the state will put signage up saying businesses in the right lane only,
Through traffic left.
through traffic the other way, a white line on the road, then we'll approach the people and obtain the sliver of.
So we probably need to talk to ITD first before we talk to the property owner.
Good.
Jeff, how I was gonna put this motion just to show that the wheels are moving on it, the steps we need to take, is I was gonna put that you moved and we'll have a second to pursue the acquisition of a right of way, pave the lane, and contact the state for the appropriate signage.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
Then I'll second it.
And that's why we have
I'm
Sandy.
just trying to figure out what we were gonna do and who's gonna do it next.
Well, the state is going to agree.
The state's gonna say yes. You said they're gonna jump all over it.
No, they were gonna do it before.
Right. All right. It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and pursue the right of way and with ATD for the turning lane at the Burroughs parking lot. All in favor? All in favor. All right, old council business.
Are we skipping it?
Letter drafted to the county and landowners regarding urban sprawl.
Jeff says we're
Yeah,
skipping
we're
it.
gonna skip that because I didn't get that letter written today.
Okay.
He has 3 side hustles.
So do we need anything for that?
Table it.
Okay.
We just
nothing.
put it off for another week.
All right.
Have that through.
Council reports. BJ.
I think I say this every year, so I hope it never lacks sincerity, and that is I appreciate the appointment. I love working with the people here, City Hall, in the City Council meetings, past elected officials, department heads. Everybody is really good to work with. It's one of the highlights of what I do, and so I very much appreciate
How long have
it.
you been doing it?
I've been doing this since 2004.
Wow. 4.
Yep. Swede took a chance on me right out of law school when Scott Hansen took the bench down in Blackfoot. He says, I don't know you, but I know you're cut from good timber. And I said, I don't know much, but I'm willing to work. And it worked out. At least so far it's worked out. So anyway, I appreciate it. Love working with everybody here. And even former council members, I had to call Earl the other day with a question. It was a gun issue. And, anyway, so I called Earl, somebody I talked about before, and it was fun to talk to him and catch up. He said to tell everybody hello. So good guy, good people. It's a good place to be, and so thank you for the appointment. That's all I have.
I actually called Earl yesterday morning, I think it was,
did you?
at
Yes,
about
everybody's-
8:30. I woke him up. Was you in bed? Oh, no, well, kind of.
That's retired.
Yeah,
That's the way it's supposed to be done if you're gonna retire, but
I
anyway.
had a piece of email that needed a gentleman was trying to reach out to him. So anyway, I said, okay, you just go back to sleep.
That's all I have.
Okay, all right,
Thank you.
Sandy.
Me also, thank you for the appointment, very much appreciated. Secondly, we talked about at the last council meeting implementing a COVID policy, and I took the items that we all talked about. And this is not in the front of your binder; it's behind your very last page. I don't know what I was thinking when I put it there. Anyway, I sent it to BJ. He had a little bit of change in the language that he did. So we've had, I've got a person that's out right now that we're using this on. So take a look at it. If you see a little bit of language you want changed, let me know. But otherwise, I'll just go ahead.
I read what he had. I thought it was
Yeah,
that's
did
good.
you
Is
notice
that okay then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, great. That's what we'll use then, and that's all I have.
Okay. Michael.
do you want to do
Oh, Justin.
He already left.
No, he's there.
I'd also like to say thank you for the appointment. We do work with a great bunch of people, and we got a good crew, and that is very nice. The couple of things we got going on, the H&K is getting ready to start the East River sewer line project. Next week, you'll notice them out there. They're going to start delivering some equipment, pipe, parts. They're going to start cutting some asphalt. With the idea that the second week in February, they're going to actually start digging. They'll be starting right there by Basic American on Emerson, and they'll head east. The idea is they're going to shut the road completely down from manhole to manhole and work it in sections. So all the cross streets going north and south, they'll keep open for traffic, but there will be, 300 to 400 feet in between manholes that they'll have shut down. They will keep it open for the homes that live there. They'll allow the people still to park their vehicles inside there on their driveway and stuff. But anyway, so we're getting ready to start that. Up on the very end between Lincoln and Milton by the swimming pool, there's 5 big trees on the north side. So Dave and I have met with H&K out there a few different times, and we're going to adjust the sewer line on that end over to the north side versus the south. The water line hugs that south side pretty tight. There is a high pressure gas line on the north side, but they're thinking they have more room to dig between that versus the south. So
From where?
3 of them big trees are in our right of way. The other 2 big trees are on private property and in our right of way. So I'll go approach them, 2 homes up there, with the idea that 5 trees are going to have to come out of there to put that sewer line in there. So that'll be probably a project that my crew will take on here, maybe by the end of February, 1st of March. We'll work with that on that end. So the H&K's been great to work with. They've they've got traffic control. I know traffic safety's going to do all the trafficking for them, signs, candles, any traffic control like that. They'll handle that. They're going to send letters out and go door to door on the areas they're working in, talk to people, let them know what's going on. We've reached out to Charlie, the postmaster, to let them know for mail delivery. I know they've talked to the school district, so I think we've got everything figured out for this project to get going. So
That was my
like I said,
question.
you'll see H&K showing up next week to start doing a few things like that. We had a water line break last Thursday. We got in and got it done, so I was proud of the guys for doing that. It was a cold morning, but I didn't hear any grief. We just got her done and moved on, so that's been great. Let's see. Oh, I do appreciate Chad. You guys helping with the tuition. I think that's going to mean a whole lot to him. It means a lot to me, so I appreciate that help. John Meekum, he did test positive for COVID yesterday, so he's going to be out this week. And then as far as the crew, the guys have been working in the shop. We've been doing some repairs to the building, doing some repairs in the transfer station. And then we've been mechanicing, doing oil changes and servicing vehicles, just getting everything ready for the next season. So other than that, just thanks again for everything. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Justin. Michael.
Yes, basketball's going good. This Saturday's going to be halfway, so we're almost halfway done with it. The school did get new bleachers, so I did buy some new basketball hoops. We're gonna try something different so we can use the bleachers. Because with the new ones, they open all together instead of separate. So we're gonna try that. Hopefully that'll work out. So parents don't have to bring chairs anymore. Mayor's Youth this year are a really good group of kids, and they want to start doing stuff that's a little different than the whole norm that we've been doing. Because it's kind of like repetitive every year. But they came up with some ideas, and they want to try to do more to the community, which I'm really excited about. That it's kind of their idea. So they want to like go to the library and maybe do like a reading where kids can come on a Friday and they go read to them. And do some other things like that and try to get some more community stuff involved. And then also, they want to hear more about the AIC conference for the Mayor's Youth, and they want to try to invite other Mayor's Youth councils to get together and start talking. So maybe we could do a bigger project together. So I'm kind of excited that they're looking outside the box a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's awesome.
Making me work a little bit more, but that's all right. So, and thank you for letting me come back for another year. Andy and the girls in the office and everybody. It'll be fun. So thank you, and that's all I got.
All right, thanks, Michael. Chief.
Ditto. Thank you for the reappointment. I couldn't imagine all the time I've done this. I couldn't imagine doing it anyplace else. This is the best city with the best people we could ever ask for. With that, my two new guys are doing really well. Pacheco's doing good at the academy. Eddie is catching on to the streets really good. So so far I couldn't be more pleased with how they're doing. So other than that, everything's great. Just thank you for giving me the honor of serving one more year.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Chief. Jeff.
Nothing much other than met with URA the other day in our monthly meeting, and we're moving forward with the upgrade of the plant. We're looking to go out to our public officials. If you have an opportunity to speak to any of our representatives, Julie Van Orden, who's our senator in place, Stan, and Julie and Young, our representative in Cannon, and just remind them of the importance of this facility, that we need funding, and we're hoping that DEQ will give us funding for it, and we're hoping to get at least $30 million of funding to build this plant, so upgrade this plant, so we need that. Anyway, that's all I've got.
Okay. Leif.
All right. Justin covered everything we've covered all our stuff today.
Kim.
I had a discussion with Robin Longhurst. She wants to still be all over the planners, do all the planners, do all that stuff, but she doesn't want to do like the title of tree president, Arbor Day, like tree committee president. Thank you. So, but she wants to cover all the planner stuff. So Jeff's over that. So I think we all need to help find a tree president, and that would just Arbor Day celebration and Yard of the Year is what. But you have to have meetings too.
Okay, so we need to look for a tree hugger.
A tree hugger. Okay, so.
And dealing with the state.
And dealing with the state, yes. Our tree forester, Gary.
Okay.
So I'll give you some names and numbers too. So. Okay. Michael has worked really hard. The Mayor's Youth Council does have him working harder than ever, which that makes me happy, but it's great ideas coming from that group of kids. The Just Serve had their fair, and the nonprofit organizations that were there were great, and our tree committee was there, the Mayor's Youth Council was there, so yeah, Heart to Hand, I mean, there was a lot, so that was a good thing.
Wasn't there over 20?
23
total.
23 total.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a good turnout. Mostly women, because they were all volunteer things, is what Kim Adams told me, but that doesn't surprise me.
Oh, wow. Gee.
So,
So that could.
I know I'm on Facebook, but I know, it's okay.
You that you're on camera.
The trailer that's out in front of the bank,
Yes.
what's,
When are they gonna move that? Their
That
parking
needs
lot's
to be-
been done for a month.
Yeah, we need to get that moved, Chief. We can.
The,
There's a utility trailer
There's a
that's out
utility
in front of the
trailer
bank. It really is hard coming out of that parking lot. We've got to get that.
and
moved the other ones, but
blew, yeah, and the garbage can's behind it, but that gives you enough room, that's not,
Right,
but
right.
that utility trailer, like,
I will get with them.
just the other day,
Okay,
They
that'd
were
be great.
gonna-
We've had to plow around it. We've had to do
Oh,
all sorts
yeah.
of stuff. So
yeah, it's,
if we can get that,
someone's gonna run into somebody.
okay, that'd be
So-
awesome.
somebody's gonna run into my kid when he pulls out of there, cause it's been me that's almost been run into twice.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So it's
I've
gonna
seen
be him
things
when I
3
send him
times,
to the
yeah.
store.
There's no visibility.
No,
Bad.
yeah.
Especially in the
Um,
evening time when it's busy.
I think that's it. I'm glad to be working with all you appointed department heads. So,
I didn't.
and
I,
all
don't-
you elected officials.
I didn't want to go to any more work, so that's why I reappointed them. Just kidding.
Yep, we
All
were
right.
live on Facebook.
I don't have anything. Mayor, do you have anything?
No, I just appreciate everyone and all the hard work. So, thank you.
Okay, then this meeting will be adjourned.
Go stay in my
9:06.
Not bad.
We moved through that again.
So good.
Get better, Justin.
Yes, I'm continuing my education.
That's good, Joe. Keep doing it.